Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Weather Forecast Center. This is John here to give you the latest on current conditions out there for today and for the next 7 days. Um, we have very little to talk about um, as regards to the weather, um, but we are going to get started. Let me bring up so bring up the current hazards. There is a winter weather advisory here in central California for a little bit of snow in the higher elevations of the Sierras. Um, Red flag warnings in Wyoming. Uh, Flash flood watch with flood warnings and flash flood warnings in Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia. And heat alerts for deep South Texas and southern Florida. Yes, SPC Outlook for today, just a marginal risk of severe weather for today for um, west central Nebraska through central South Dakota into south central North Dakota. This is only driven off of hail. 5% chance of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter, and wind also 5% chance of wind exceeding 60 miles an hour. Um, believe 65-mile-an-hour winds will be the max for today. As I'm doing this on the fly today, since there's really nothing really to talk about. Sunday, just a general risk of thunderstorms in the southeast, Midwest, plains, intermountain west, and northwest. Um, no severe risk as of right now for tomorrow. And as of Monday, same general risk of thunderstorms in the same areas. Um, we are going to go through model guidance as the we're going to use GFS. Point out a couple of things. Here is the low that is sitting off the southeast coast that they've been progged for possible development by the National Hurricane Center, which I will show you in a few moments. This will bring rain and showers to coastal South Carolina and North Carolina. We have showers and thunderstorms from the remnants of Francine still continuing in North Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, into southern Illinois, the boot heel of Missouri, and northeast Arkansas. We have a piece of energy that's coming into the northwest. That'll bring showers to Washington State. And then here are the showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. So as I move this forward, we'll take this to 8 o'clock this evening. Scattered showers here in the northwest. This is your severe weather potential here for this afternoon and evening. Could have some showers and thunderstorms in Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle. Maybe a storm here in East Texas. And then the continuing scattered showers and thunderstorms with the remnants of Francine in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Western Kentucky, and tapering off going into Illinois and Iowa. A little bit of smattering of scattered showers here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And again, scattered showers and thunderstorms in Florida and along the southeast coast. So we take this tomorrow morning. Um, this is now down to 1,002 millibar low off the southeast coast, still spreading showers and thunderstorms to the coastal regions of the Carolinas. Scattered showers and thunderstorms still continue in northern Florida, southwestern Georgia, much of Alabama, Mississippi, western Tennessee, into Missouri and Illinois. Leftover showers, possibly a rumble of thunder here in eastern Dakotas into northwestern Minnesota. Maybe a scattered shower or two down there in Oklahoma. And just a smattering of showers in Utah and Arizona. As we go into tomorrow evening, so this low strengthens to a 1001 millibar low or subtropical storm. We'll see what happens by tomorrow, but showers and thunderstorms along coastal regions of the Carolinas. A smattering of showers and thunderstorms in the Rockies, also here in the north central plains. Again, showers and thunderstorms with the remnants of Francine, but that is starting to wane. Obviously, showers and thunderstorms down there in Florida and in central Texas, and here in Oregon and northern California. As we go into Monday, they have this low deepening to a 998 off the southeast, off the Carolina coast. We will see if it becomes a named storm or not. If it becomes a named storm, I think it will be the H storm. So that will be Helene, I believe. With showers, heavy rain, and thunderstorms with it from northeastern South Carolina up through southern Virginia. A smattering of showers and thunderstorms from the mid-south into the plains down into the Four Corners region, and some showers and thunderstorms, and maybe some snow here in the Sierra Mountains in California. Otherwise, scattered showers and possibly some thunderstorms in Nevada and California. As we continue this to Monday evening, the low comes inland, spreads rain, showers, and thunderstorms from Mason-Dixon line down into western North Carolina. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through Florida along the Gulf Coast. A strong low pressure system forms in the Rockies, and that will promote showers and thunderstorms from Kansas all the way up through the Dakotas, while other areas in the west see scattered showers and thunderstorms. So that is for Monday night. As we continue to Tuesday morning, this low drifts north, bringing scattered showers and thunderstorms to the mid-Atlantic. Some tropical moisture still lingers down here across northern Florida and Gulf Coast, so scattered showers and thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast. Also, some scattered showers and storms here in Dakotas through Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Some scattered showers and maybe a snowflake or two in Idaho for your Tuesday morning in the Rockies. As we continue to Tuesday evening, we have a deepening cold front here with associated low here entering the plains. Showers and thunderstorms along the front from Nebraska down to New Mexico. The leftovers of this low will continue to bring showers, possibly some thunderstorms from West Virginia into upstate New York, and some snow possible here in Idaho. Otherwise, showers and thunderstorms in Montana and in the northwest coast. As we continue to Wednesday morning, we have another low offshore here. I'll bring showers and thunderstorms to the northeast. This is what was left of that low pressure off the southeast coast. Some snow showers possible here in Wyoming and also here in the Sierras. Otherwise, showers in Nevada and California. Also, some showers and thunderstorms here in the eastern Dakotas into Minnesota, Iowa, and Kansas, and here in Montana. And just a little bit of rain here along the Gulf Coast. As we go into Wednesday night, this low here will ride the northeast coast, will bring scattered showers and thunderstorms to the northeast. A 985 low pressure system, obviously with a cold front, as moving to the east, is going to provide a line of showers and thunderstorms from South Dakota down into western Texas, including Texas Panhandle. Scattered showers and thunderstorms here in the southeast, and scattered showers here from California to Utah and parts of Wyoming, with possible snow showers in the higher elevations. As we go into Thursday morning, this low is starting to move to the north and east, but still providing showers, possibly some thunderstorms here in the northeast. Uh, so this is now 98 low with a cold front coming down, moving to the east. Start off the morning with some scattered showers here in Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri, and far eastern Nebraska. Scattered showers, maybe some snow showers in the higher elevations here in the Intermountain West, and some showers and storms along the Gulf Coast. As we go into Thursday evening, a weak low pressure system develops here in the southeast, which will promote showers and thunderstorms from Pennsylvania down into Florida. Your cold front showers and thunderstorms here in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, also down here into Missouri and Iowa. Scattered showers and thunderstorms in Kansas. Maybe a storm here in West Texas. And scattered showers, possibly a snow shower or two here in the Sierras and also here in the Rockies for Thursday evening. As we go into Friday morning, the weak low goes offshore the southeast. Still scattered showers and thunderstorms here all in the southeast. We have scattered showers here from northern Texas up through Iowa. And then we have rain changing to snow in Colorado, in the Colorado Rockies. Rain in the valleys, snow in the higher elevations. As a cold front will continue to move to the east. Friday morning. As we go into Friday evening, this is the 21st. You pretty much see where the front is right here, right? There's your dry line, showers and thunderstorms. These could be severe on Friday due to a big temperature contrast from ahead to behind the front. There's some snow showers in the Rockies of Colorado Friday evening, otherwise just scattered showers behind the front, and showers and thunderstorms here along the East Coast from Florida up into the Northeast. As we go into Saturday morning next week, the front is on the move to the east, so some scattered showers and thunderstorms here in the UP of Michigan, into Wisconsin, and down here into the southern plains, into Missouri and Arkansas. Still lingering showers and thunderstorms along the southeast coast with a low pressure off the mid-Atlantic. We'll see how that turns out later. And scattered showers behind the front and clear skies in the Intermountain West. And as we go into next Saturday evening, and this is where I will stop front draped through here with scattered showers and thunderstorms all along it, some which may be severe. That does include this area in Texas going into Arkansas. You have some snow showers here in the Colorado Rockies, snow in the higher elevations, rain in the lower elevations, and again continuing the theme of showers and thunderstorms along the southeast coast. And here in the northeast, with again this low just sitting off the mid-Atlantic coast, while the rest of the west is high and dry. So we will do this. So that is that. So we are going to go to we're going to go into temperatures now. This is starting this is starting 8, 11. We'll start this at 2 o'clock. So you got primarily 70s and 80s. Whoa, that's not dark enough. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this again. 70s and 80s primarily for the East Coast. Whoa. Let's try that again. So we're going to erase that, and we're going to do this. So 70s and 80s along the East Coast, 90s in Florida, 80s and 90s here in the Midwest, cooler 80s due to clouds and rain, 90s in Texas, 80s primarily for the Intermountain West, 90s in the deserts, and some cooler pockets of 50s and 60s in the higher elevations of the Rockies. get my bearings together. Just give me 1 second. So, so for your Sunday morning lows, try and see here. Yeah, that'll work. 9Z, that would be 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. So your lows will be 50s and let's try that again. Let's go draw 50s and 60s here in the northeast and mid-Atlantic, 60s and 70s in the southeast, 60s and 70s primarily through the mid-section of the country, 40s and 50s here in the northwest, some 30s in the Sierras, and 70s and 80s down here in the deserts for your lows Sunday morning. Um, by tomorrow afternoon, 90s widespread through the central part of the country, with 90s spilling into the Midwest, primarily 70s and 80s along the East Coast, upper 80s in Florida, cooler lower 80s there in the Mid-South due to clouds and rain, cooler 50s here in the highest elevations in Oregon. Also a little spot here in Colorado. And then down here in the deserts, 80s, 90s to near 100 for tomorrow. So lows for Monday morning. We got 50s and 60s primarily here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, 60s and 70s through the Southeast, some 60s here in the Midwest, 60s and 70s through the plains, 30s, maybe some upper 20s here in the Sierras. We're getting to that time of year where we're going to start spotting cooler anomalies here. So those spots could have some upper 30s, and Sierras could have some upper 20s for lows. Otherwise, 40s and 50s elsewhere, and 70s and 80s in the desert Southwest. For your Monday highs, wow. Here in the Appalachians, 50s and 60s. 60s to around 70 in the Carolinas. Otherwise, 80s and 90s down here in the rest of the Southeast. 80s and 90s are prevalent here in the Midwest, Great Lakes, and the Plains. You got 70s, 60s, and 70s for most of the uh, Intermountain West, with some pockets of 40s and 50s, especially in the Sierras, 90s in the desert Southwest. So for your Tuesday morning lows, got 50s and 60s. Parts of the Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. 70s in Florida. Um, 60s and 70s in the Plains. 50s and 60s in the Great Lakes and the Midwest. 70s in desert Southwest. Looks like you got some cooler 30s and upper 20s here in parts of the Sierra. Otherwise, 50s, 40s and 50s here in California. And again, 40s and 50s with a few pockets of 30s here in the Intermountain West. These are your low temperatures for Tuesday morning. Going into Tuesday afternoon, again, here in the Appalachians, 60s, otherwise 70s, 60s and 70s in the Northeast, 80s and 90s here in Mid-Atlantic down into the Southeast, 80s and a few 90s in the Mid-South, 80s in the Great Lakes, and then 90s pretty much all up and down Midwest and the Plains. Let's see, we got 80s here, 70s and the 80s, and a few 90s here in the desert Southwest. And then you have your 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s in the Intermountain West. So we go into Wednesday morning. Now we're introducing some 50s here in the Appalachians, otherwise 50s and 60s. Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, 60s and 70s in the Southeast. 70s and 80s for morning lows down here in Texas, otherwise 60s and 70s through the rest of the plains. 50s and 60s in Great Lakes and Midwest. Range would be from 30s, maybe 20s in the higher elevations, to 40s, 50s, and 60s in the west, 70s in the desert Southwest for your morning lows on Wednesday. Your high temperatures on Wednesday. Um, 60s and 70s here in the Northeast, 70s and 80s, and a few 90s down here in the Southeast and Mid Atlantic. '70s here in the Great Lakes region, '80s and '90s here in the Midwest and the Plains and the Mid South. While in the Rockies, you got '50s and '60s here. You got '80s and '90s down here in the Southwest. '80s, '70s, and '80s along the West Coast. And in the higher elevations, cooler '40s in the higher elevations of the Rockies and the Intermountain West. As we go into Thursday morning, um, '50s and '60s, Mid-Atlantic Northeast, '60s and '70s in the Southeast, '60s and '70s in the Mid-South, um, '50s and '60s here in the Great Lakes and Midwest, '60s, '70s, and a few '80s here in the Plains. While Desert Southwest in the '70s, higher elevations in the Rockies, '30s and '40s, otherwise '50s and '60s elsewhere. The higher elevations will have low temperatures in the '30s and possibly upper '20s. That is your Thursday morning lows. As we go into Thursday afternoon, cooler '60s here in New England. Otherwise, '70s, '80s, and '90s along the rest of the East Coast. '90s to near 100 in the plains into Texas. '70s and '80s in Midwest Great Lakes. '80s and '90s in the Mid-South. '80s in the Desert Southwest. '40s and '50s here in the higher elevations, otherwise 60s, '70s, and '80s elsewhere in the Intermountain West. As we go into your Friday morning, '50s and '60s for parts of the Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. '60s and '70s for the rest of the Southeast. '60s primarily in the Great Lakes. '70s and '80s in the Southern Plains. '50s and '60s in the Northern Plains. In the West, in the higher elevations, '20s and '30s. Otherwise, '40s, '50s, and '60s elsewhere. '70s in the Desert Southwest for lows Friday morning. As we go into Friday afternoon, still some cooler '60s here in parts of New England and parts of Pennsylvania, 70s and 80s through the rest of the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast. Looks like 70s in northern New England, 70s and 80s, with a few 90s here. Great Lakes into the Mid-South, 80s and 90s, with a possibility of a few hundreds in the Southern Plains, 70s and 80s, Northern Plains. So, 70s, 80s, 90s in the deserts. 40s, 50s, 60s in the Rockies of Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah. And 60s in the Sierras for high temperatures on Friday. And I will take you into next Saturday morning, where low temperatures, now you're introducing 40s and 50s for New England, 50s and 60s, Mid-Atlantic parts of Southeast, 60s and 70s in Florida, 50s and 60s in the Midwest and Great Lakes region, 60s, 70s, and a few 80s down here in Mid-South and Southern Plains, 50s and 60s here in the Northern Plains. So 70s in the deserts, 60s in the Valley of California, 30s and 40s in the Sierras, 20s, 30s, and 40s here in the Rockies, otherwise 40s, 50s, and 60s in the interior portions of the Rockies and Intermountain West. So those are your temperatures for the next week. Now I will talk about, let's see if I have an update. I do. So this is now orange, so this now has a 40% chance of developing. This is the low pressure system that is off the southeast coast. Formation in the next 2 days is 40%. Formation in the next 7 days is 50%. And then you have Tropical Storm Gordon out here playing with the fishes. Maximum sustained winds is at 45 miles an hour. Movement is west at 9 miles an hour. And for Gordon, this is going to be a fish storm because it's going to move this way and then it's going to do this. So that will not affect any land masses for the foreseeable future. But this, we will have to keep our eyes on in the coming days, as it is now code orange. Because in the newest model run, it does show it as a possible tropical storm making landfall in the Carolinas. So we will keep an eye on that over the weekend and into Monday of this upcoming work week. So that is all I have for you today. Please like the video if you like it and subscribe. Hope everyone has a great Saturday afternoon, and I will talk to you again soon.